Usual, honoured guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends. Is mór an ordom a bheith seo ná aniu a bheith seo tróna chun cointú ina an chéiste a cheléirú, cointú a bhí ina dhéara agus ina hús. Deire le blianta fada d'obair chrua agus de choréitigh gachtaobh, agus tús le próses nua chun siocháin á bhúntras agus tóchaí eile, tóchaí I bhfad níos fearr, chruthú a chruthú go gachtaine, as bear leis. It is an honor for me to be here with you this evening to mark the 20th anniversary of the Good Friday Agreement. It is an agreement that has both an end and a beginning. An end to many years of hard work and difficult compromises on all sides. The beginning of a new process of building peace, reconciliation, and building a shared future for the peoples of our islands. I am particularly delighted to be joined here this evening by Senator Mitchell. Senator, like many Irishmen, you are a hero to me, and someone for whom there is tremendous affection and warmth from the people of Ireland. You are held in the highest esteem. I can say I've been here for 9 months, we've never had an event that distilled as quickly as this one. I want to pay particular thanks to Bill and to Andrew for making this evening possible. This evening's event started with a conversation between myself and Bill in his office in Sacramento. I said to Bill, do you think we could get Senator Mitchell here? Bill was like, of course we can. And so it is so. Thank you very much. And I also want to thank Andrew. He has shared with me from the very start an eagerness to do this event and to do it right. He realised that this is an important moment in our shared history, and I thank him for taking the time this evening and all support to date. I think, however, most of our discussion recently has been about this event. I think it's suited Andrew quite well because, as a Welshman, he hasn't wanted to talk about the rugby. This evening's event is a celebration of 20 years of the Good Friday Agreement. It is an opportunity for us to remind ourselves of everything that has come since that period. As a child of the 80s, I was born into an Ireland where the troubles in the north were very real and where violence was tragically an almost daily feature of life on our island. It is only now, when you look back at the figures, that the sheer scale of the human tragedy becomes apparent. Over 3,500 people dead, over 47,000 people maimed and injured. The awful tragedy is most well reflected, I think, in Seamus Heaney's translation of Sophocles called The Cure of Troy, which clearly resonated with Northern Ireland at the time. Heaney says, "Human beings suffer. They torture one another. They get hurt and get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong, inflicted and endured." But throughout this dark period, there remain those on all sides who kept working for peace. In particular, I think of John Hume, a Nobel Prize-winning John Hume in this regard. Their huge, sustained effort, their faith in the possibility of peace remained undimmed, and they were ultimately vindicated when the Good Friday Agreement was signed on the 10th of April 1998. To me, the Good Friday Agreement is the culmination of three things: of vision, of leadership, and of hard work. The vision to create a multi-stranded, interlocking agreement capable of addressing some of the most complex issues. The leadership of the parties in the North, of Hume, who I already mentioned, of David Trimble of the UUP, of Gerry Adams and the late Martin McGuinness of Sinn Féin, and others who were brave enough to convince those around them that the path of peace and reconciliation was the one to follow. The hard work and perseverance of the Irish and British governments, supported by our friends here in the United States and in the European Union, to continue working to get an agreement even in those dark times when it seemed that an agreement was not possible. I want to reiterate something I said earlier, I think. US support has always been absolutely critical for our peace process. US administrations, as far back as President Carter and President Reagan, elected officials at every level, from city to state to federal, have all played a hugely productive role in the peace process. And this evening, I want to obviously recognise the Mayor, Mark Farrell, Bill and Patrick, and Tom Torrickson, who's the Superintendent for Education for the state of California. Your presence here speaks volumes about the role of America in making our peace. Thank you so much for being here this evening. Well, the agreement was forged by politicians and officials like me. It is the people of the island of Ireland, those most profoundly affected by the Troubles, particularly in the north, who ultimately validated the agreement on the 22nd of May 1998. The agreement and its successes belong to them. It's their agreement. The agreement fundamentally altered the totality of the relationships between the peoples of our islands, providing a basis for a renewed relationship between Ireland and the UK, between the peoples of Northern Ireland, and between North and South. It transformed life on our island from one marred by violence to one of peace. The Irish government, together with the UK government, guarantees that agreement and in all its parts and in all circumstances. Its protection and implementation is a solemn duty which is not distracted or diverted by short-term political challenges or by political expediency. As co-guarantor of the Good Friday Agreement, the Irish government is determined to protect all it has helped to achieve. It is our shared responsibility, and we must strive every day to implement the agreement, its provisions, and most importantly, its spirit. The island of Ireland has been particularly in the headlines over the last period in the context of the UK's decision to withdraw from the EU. As both the Taoiseach and Taoiseach have said, we wish this wasn't happening. We have no desire to see our closest partner depart the Union, be joined together and help build together. However, we accept the result of the UK referendum, and foremost in our concerns now is ensuring that the hard-won gains of the last 20 years are protected. For Ireland, that means ensuring there is no semblance of a hard border on the island of Ireland, ensuring that tens of thousands of people who work, and people on both sides that currently cross freely for work and education, to do business, to visit relatives, and as tourists, can continue to do so. It means protecting North-South cooperation and the all-island economy. What we have found is that peace increases prosperity, and prosperity in turn reinforces peace. We believe that for peace, prosperity, and for partnership, it is essential that today's invisible border remains just that, open and free of any physical infrastructure or associated checks and controls. We are working with our partners in the European Union and with the EU's Chief Negotiator, Michel Barnier, towards this ultimate objective. It is unfortunate at this moment that there is no executive or assembly in Northern Ireland, despite intensive engagement over the last year. 2 decades ago, Senator Mitchell and those who wanted to end Northern Ireland's 30-year nightmare of violence refused to be deflected from their resolve to find an agreed solution. So too in our time, there is no alternative to the Good Friday Agreement, which remains the indispensable framework of our shared future. I therefore hope that the parties involved can find a way to renew the power-sharing executive and to get back to work delivering on a shared future for Northern Ireland in the spirit of the Good Friday Agreement. In the Hero of Troy, he urges us to hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge, to believe that a further shore is reachable from here. The Good Friday Agreement was that great sea change. It provides hope for our shared future. This is why we celebrated this evening amongst our friends, amongst our family, our community, and our supporters here in San Francisco. I want to conclude, though, by thanking you for being here, for sharing and being part of this celebration, and for helping making this such a special occasion here in San Francisco. For being honored.